you are already dead. The line was a big hit when I was in school. Fist of the North Star. In a post-apocalyptic future where violence rules all, one man stands ready to defend the weak. This is our protagonist, Kenshiro. He wanders the wasteland where only the strong survive. Everywhere he goes, rivals wait to take him down. As he battles his way from one episode to the next, Kenshiro struggles to fulfill his destiny. It sold over 100 million copies worldwide. My brother got me into it too. Rao's twisted love for Yuria fascinated me.
Today, Fist of the North Star remains a cultural icon.
お前はもう死んでいる。
てめえらの血は何色だ?
Ken puts fingers and then
The gripping action and unforgettable dialogue have long stayed with readers. Artwork by Hara Tetsuo. Story by Buronson. But it was the third member of the group that solidified the series' success.
ドドドドって入ってくるんですよ。ふらーってバーっててめえ何やってんだよとか言って俺この人鬼かと思って
妥協はしないよ作詞に関しては本当に何回もこいつぶん殴ったろうかって思ったことあるよ
Editor Horie Nobuhiko. This is the story of how fate brought three men together to make manga history.
Episode number 1. September 13th, 1983. Weekly manga magazine Shonen Jump launches Fist of the North Star. Our first vantage point is from the artist's perspective. Hara Tetsuo. He was just 21. Hara was struggling to find his footing as a manga illustrator. Most readers had never heard of him. But one man was convinced of his potential. A chance encounter changed their lives. The birth of Fist of the North Star. This is another story.
Kichijoji, Tokyo. In a quiet office, a master at work. Hara Tetsuo has been a manga illustrator for more than 35 years. His detailed drawings burst to life on the page. Hara has lost nearly all sight in his right eye. Over the course of 5 years working on Fist of the North Star, he pushed his body beyond its limits.
めっちゃ歯食いしばって書いてるし怒りのシーンとかもカーッてやってるし泣きのシーンが泣きそうになりながら書いてるしもう全部ひどいですよあーっつってグヒャーとかやって
Let's go back to late 1970s Japan. Major manga publishers are in a heated battle to gain the most readers. At the time, One high school student was hoping to break into the industry by approaching the publishers. Hara Tetsuo. This is one of the works he shows. It's a story of the dark underside of humanity.
僕あの当時ですとガロとかああいうマイナーな感じで4畳半でちょっと好きな漫画描いていければいいやみたいな。
Hara was born in 1961. He grew up in Saitama, north of Tokyo. His grades were low, and he wasn't great at sports. As a teenager, Hara found refuge in comedic manga from giants like Akatsuka Fujio. Even as a child, Hara was covering scraps of paper with drawings. His talent as an artist was promising, but his storytelling was weak. He thought he could find work as a manga illustrator or artist. In his search for a way in, Hara visited the editorial department of Weekly Shonen Jump. The magazine was looking for fresh talent and known for its popular lineup. Hoping against hope, Hara pitched the magazine for an assistant position. One editor sensed something special in him. Horie Nobuhiko was an up-and-coming 24-year-old and future creator of popular manga, including Cat's Eye. Hara had brought along a sample of his work, an unfinished story about a flawed detective. In all honesty, the story didn't quite work. But Horie saw something beyond the rough edges.
堀江さんがすごい気に入ってくれて、でそこからこう意気投合したんですよね。なんか飯食いに行こうとか言っていきなり高校生の僕にで定食屋に連れてくんですよ。別に定食とか食いたくないんだけどなとか思いながら。
Horie introduced Hara to an assistant position and kept an eye over his progress. What was it about Hara's work that impressed him?
漫画にはなってないんだよ。30ぐらいの男性がね、パチンコ屋でパチンコを打ちながら荒れてるっていうかね、絵のうまさは分かったよね。ああ、この人はかっこみすごいなと思ってね、やっぱりその絵を描くことの執念みたいな集中力っていうか、それはもうその7枚8枚の原稿でも分かったからね。
Hara's densely detailed frames were unlike anything the magazine was putting out. With more experience, maybe Horie could help him create a completely different kind of manga. A partnership was born. Together, the duo would create the forerunner to Fist of the North Star. But it would take them 3 years to get there. With Horie as his mentor, Hara penned a series of one-off stories. One of them captured an award. Hara had begun to find his footing. He wanted to model his next protagonist on an action star. Rippling muscles and bared teeth. No one could touch him. Bruce Lee. He used martial arts to dispose of opponents twice his size. Lee was pure power in motion, and that fascinated Hara.
かっこいいなんかポーズとか仕草みたいなのすごい覚えてますよね。でやっぱ何回もやっぱりその映画館もやっぱ何回も行ってこうスケッチブック持ってメモしてましたからね。だから僕はそういうタイプじゃなかったんで憧れが強かったじゃないですか。どっちかっていうとやられる方でしたから。
Hara also admired another TV and movie star, this time Japanese, known for his hard-boiled characters, Matsuda Yusaku.
ブルース・リーと松田優作さんが好きだったからあの2人の要素を入れた主人公は絶対描きたいっていうのがあってで他の人が誰もやってなかったんですよ。絶対みんな見たいはずだと思ってたんですよね。
Hara pitched Horie on a martial arts story, combining the best of both actors. But Horie had other plans. He wanted to build a new series around motocross and its booming popularity. Horie was convinced he could bring the excitement of racing to the pages of a manga.
河川敷にモトクロスやりに行くぞって言われてっつってなんか一番ちっちゃい 80cc かなんかのバイクに乗せられてでちょっと走ってみろとか言われてとか言いながらいきなりバーンってウィーディーしちゃってひっくり返ったっていう。
Hara didn't share his editor's confidence, but he was willing to give it a go, and that led to Hara's first serial manga. Iron Don Quixote. Hara took the opportunity and gave everything he had. But reader response was tepid. Less than a month after the launch, the magazine was looking for an exit. Iron Don Quixote ran for just 10 weeks before calling it quits.
6週目かなんか書いてる時に堀さんが部屋に来てそれで次の連載の話しようって言ったんですよ。でと思って6週目ですよ。まだ知らないんですよ終了するの。それはもう絶望ですよ。21ぐらいですから。あ俺ってダメ売れない作家なんだみたいなもう烙印をされたみたいな。で2度目のチャンスって普通ないんですからよっぽどのことがないと。
Hara was despondent. And it turned out that Horie had pulled the plug.
当時の編集長だった西村さんがあれなんなら続けてもいいんだぞっていう話をしてくれました。でもねやっぱり僕は原さんとこう付き合ってて原さんはねやっぱもっと大きな話が書けるってだからこの鉄のドン・キホーテにこだわるよりも一回仕切り直しした方が絶対原さんのためになるなと思ってねそれで勝手に連載はもう終わっていいですよっつって言っちゃったのかな。
He'd only have one more chance. Hara made a decision.
自分が面白いと思うものしか書かないって人気がないっていうのが嫌だったんですよ。要するに読者が喜んでくれてないって自分の漫画でだって必要とされてないってことだからもう絶対その自分が面白いと思うものしか書かない。
Hara convinced his mentor to do a Chinese martial arts themed manga. But there was one problem. Every martial arts manga needs secret killer techniques. But both men were stumped. None of their ideas passed the test. Horie found the answer in a used bookshop not far from his office.
中国の本ばっかり売ってる本屋があってね、でそこに入って医学書のところでこうやってこう見てたら、そしたらこう中国の医学生がねツボを研究しててね、そのツボの目のいいツボをこう刺激してたら、刺激しすぎちゃって目が見えなくなっちゃったとか書いてあったわけ。これだと思ってさ、要するにツボっていうのを経絡飛行を要するに利用することで、格闘技の必殺技、究極の必殺技ができるよなって思ったの。
In April 1983, Hara and Horie pooled their ideas to create a one-off story. Fist of the North Star. It was quietly published in the final pages of a monthly manga magazine. The protagonist is a high school student named Kasumi Kenshiro. He was named after fictional judoka Sugata Sanshiro. His killer technique is called Hokuto Shinken. The story featured elements that would soon appear in the serial of the same name. And Kenshiro would speak that iconic line for the first time. You are already dead. Hara's one-off was chosen by readers as the best story in the magazine. In September of that year, Kenshiro returned in the first episode of a new serial. Hara concentrated on artwork while someone else would write the stories. The new serial put an older Kenshiro in a new setting. Wandering alone in a wasteland left barren by nuclear war. The new Kenshiro was a man of few words. With the secrets of Hokuto Shinken, he triumphed over seemingly unbeatable opponents in every issue. Readers fell hard for Fist of the North Star's epic scale and gripping visuals. But turning out 20 pages of finished artwork every week was far harder than Hara imagined.
もうボロボロで風呂もなんか3日も4日も入ってないですよ。でこう堀江さんにこうやって渡して、で堀江さんが「こうすんだよ」とか言いながらこうやって見て「よし」って「はい次の原作」ってバンと渡すんで「で次打ち合わせするぞ」っつって「俺この人鬼か」と思って毎週地獄ですよね。だから。
Hara's visuals delighted readers. Fist of the North Star topped poll after poll. But instead of sharing the success with Hara, Horie cracked the whip.
褒められると調子に乗っちゃうタイプなんで、だからパワハラとかね今言ってますけど、ああいうのがなかったらできないと思いますね、漫画なんて。怒ってくれる人がいないと。僕の場合ですけどね。
Although Horie kept the pressure on, he also kept Hara inspired.
堀江さんが全部芝居してくれるんですよ。無抵抗の村のやつが老人がいてなみたいな、そういうのをね事細かに芝居してくれるんですよ。で僕こう見ながら時々こううるっときたりとかゾクッときたりとかしながら、それで僕はイメージ膨らんできて、こう目がギラギラしてきたらなんかこうこいつ分かってんなっていう感じになってじゃあ行けみたいな感じ。
When it came to action scenes, Horie gave his artist complete freedom. And Hara never failed to deliver. Fans loved his unconventional words.
プシュって隠れ激しいってしてるまあだらば
As Kenshiro's opponents bite the dust, they utter one last cry. These Haraisms were a huge hit with readers. Take Hidebu! One of the death cries from Hara's fertile imagination.
あれ「いて」と「ブー」なんですけどヒデになってでブーですかねでヒデブーでデブもかかってるしデブの審査もぴったり合うみたいな。
But Hara's death cries were so out of the box, his copy editors had difficulty understanding.
字間違えてると思って直されてたんですずっと普通の文字に。はいっつって「誤植じゃねえよ」と思って「俺すんげえ考えてやってんだよ」とか思って何とも挑戦してヒデブーがやっと通ったんですよ。
Hara was following in the footsteps of giants.
でもやっぱり赤塚先生とかもうやってましたからね当時から「レレレンのレ」から始まって「ケムンパスパス」とかね「パスパスパス」とかおかしいでしょそんなの。でそれで育ってるから僕ら当たり前なんですよそういう変な言葉。なんかやっぱり人が死ぬっていうのはねあんまりリアルに書きたくないなっていうかちょっと笑えるような感じに滑稽さみたいなのが出ると緩和するんじゃないかなっていうことで。
Before they knew it, Shonen Jump gained over 1 million weekly sales. But Hara wasn't driven by the numbers. His obligation was to the fans who waited eagerly for each new issue, the way he did as a child.
僕もやっぱ赤塚先生とか千葉先生とかの漫画でとかもうすんごい癒されてこう救いになったっていう少年時代本当希望がなかったのに漫画で希望をもらえたっていうのがあるんですよ。だからそういう漫画ってそういうもんでしょっていう思いがあるから漫画を読んだ人に絶対喜んでもらいたいなっていう気持ちしかないんですよ。だからすごいこう世界中の人が日本中の人がこう喜んでるこのシーン見たらつって一人一人の顔を浮かべながら描いてましたから、このシーン見たらみんなどう思うかなみたいなそれワクワクしながら描いてるんですよ。
Fist of the North Star captured the hearts of readers for another reason. The memorable dialogue. I have no regrets of the life I've led. Love makes people suffer. Love makes people grieve. The man behind the words is Vantage Point 2. Buronson. He went from Japan Defense Force member to prolific manga author. Buronson told the stories that Hara brought to life. During 5 years of collaboration on Fist of the North Star, the two men hardly ever met face to face. Two men with a mysterious bond. How it came about is another story.
Even in his 70s, he stays fit. Buronson never goes a day without his pull-ups.
大体5回をこれ5回これを5回で大体10回を2セットか時々。
After half a century, he's still telling stories. From the tip of his pencil, new worlds are born. We asked him, how does he do it?
もう根っから嘘つきだからね。本当なの。大体物書きなんて嘘つきの言い訳のうまいやつだからね。俺に言わせると。
Bronsson's participation in Fist of the North Star was by chance. At first, he was just another name on Horier's list of candidates. But when Shonen Jump couldn't come to an agreement with his first choice, Horier turned to Bronson. Bronson read Hara's original one-off and liked what he saw. But the author had specific conditions.
とりあえず現代劇では無理だからとは言った。このままの高校生の憲法ものでは俺は書けないとは言った。肉体のとか憲法強さを出すにはもう近代兵器ない方がいいっていうのがあったんで、とりあえずこの武器のない時代にしよう。だったらもう原始の世界に戻るか近未来行くしかないんで、でたまたまマッドマックスがあったんだ。近未来にしよう。
A martial arts master in a Mad Max world. Somehow, it sounded like a hit. Bronson couldn't see where it would lead, but he always trusted his instincts. Bronson was the youngest of 6 in a Nagano farming family. As soon as possible, he joined the Air Self-Defense Force. It was his ticket out of poverty. In the Defense Force, he made a friend who would change his life, Motomiya Hiroshi. Motomiya would go on to become a successful manga author with hits like Otoko Ippiki Gakidaisho, Ore no Sora, and Salaryman Kintaro. After 7 years of service, Bronson left the Defense Force and started hanging out at Motomiya's studio. But he had no talent for drawing, and he wasn't much of an assistant.
いや、絵っていうのは特殊能力だから絶対無理。だからよく手伝いって忙しい手伝いって言われてホワイトかけろとかベタ塗るじゃん。でベタ塗る時に俺はわざとはみ出すわけ。そうするとお前やんなくていいってなるか仕事しなくていいというパターンですよ。
He spent his afternoons drinking and playing mahjong. Still, Bronson was a born storyteller. People liked having him around. Someone finally suggested he try his hand at writing stories. As it turned out, he had a knack for it. His first story was quickly accepted for publication. Soon, with his name on the hit serial Doberman Dega, his profile as a manga author started to rise. But after Doberman, he found himself looking for work. When he got the call from Horier, he was ready. Bronson submitted the first episode, confident he'd done a good job. But Hara's artwork blew his high expectations away.
やられたって思ったね。こんな描き方するんだっていう。 バイクがボーンと出てくるシーンとか俺のイメージよりはすげえっていう映像を作ってそれを文章に落としていくんだけど、で俺が書いたものよりもものすごい映像として出てきたから、原先生はすっげえ才能あるんだと思ったのは最初かな。うわ負けたくないからもっといいもの作ろうとかなるし。
Bronson knew he had to up his game. Episode 2. Kenshiro encounters an old man in the wasteland. His most precious possession, a bag of rice seeds. His seeds are a glimmer of hope in a ravaged world. Kenshiro murmurs, "It's been a while since I met a real human being." But the old man is killed by a motorcycle gang. Kenshiro's rage explodes. He exacts deadly revenge using Hokuto Shinken. After the battle, Kenshiro scatters the seeds across the old man's grave. The story ends with a glimmer of hope for a better future. Suzuki Haruhiko, an editor at Shonen Jump, remembers his reaction to the second episode.
僕は実は個人的には2回目でなんていうかな、これ鳥肌が立つぐらい面白いと思ったんで、もちろん編集部ではそんなことは言わないんだけれど、泣きっていうか人間の情に訴えるっていうのが単に強いだけの漫画だとやっぱし奥行きがなくなっちゃうんで、それこそ本当に子供も大人も男も女もみんな心のにやっぱしジーンとくるね、いい話だったと思うけどね。もう完全にこの漫画の天下が来るなと。
In Bronzon's first draft, the old man and his seeds didn't play any part in the story. Horie helped him find the story's emotional core.
最初にできた原稿だとなんとなくただあらすじを追ってる感じだった。あ、これじゃ人の気持ちは打たないなって。で、ケンシロウの良さも出ないと。
With the deadline approaching, Hara was already hard at work on the drawings. But Horie insisted on a rewrite.
最終的に原先生に原稿を渡してるのにまだ納得いかなくて、もう一度考えましょうってやってるわけだから、なんか食い足りない、面白くないっていうんで粘って最終的に絞り出したのが老人と種もみだったから、あ、これですよって言って、で原先生のとこ行って、悪いけど書き直してくれって言って一から書き直したっていう。
The three men worked heroically to meet the deadline. Episode 2 was published to much acclaim. The story both set a direction for the future and forged bonds of trust between Hara, Bronson, and Horie. Bronson's storytelling genius was demonstrated episode after episode. Take Kenshiro's scars in the shape of the Big Dipper.
これも最初にね、連載の時に胸に7つの傷つけといてください。それはもうこんな使うと思ってないね。ただファッションとしてかっこいいなと思ってつけといてって言っただけなの。
But later, Bronson devised a brilliant backstory for those 7 scars.
3回目か4回目の時に初めて堀江君と「おい、なんでこいつ旅してるんだ」だから。で初めてその時に女を追いかけることにしようとか、その時に胸に7つの傷がついてるじゃんってなって、これはじゃあ死んってやつ女を捉える時につけようとか、その時に俺思いついた時に俺は天才だと思ったからね。後付けの。
Episode 8. The love of Kenshiro's life is stolen by another man. As they battle, he is scarred 7 times. This key episode tells us what drives Kenshiro to wander through the wasteland. With Horie keeping an eye on reader feedback, each episode built on the one before. There was no long-term plan.
あんまり先まで考えると面白くないんですよ。やっぱりある程度のアドリブ性っていうのが傑作を生む秘訣だから先のことなんて3話ぐらいまでしか考えてないよね、大体の方向性。でその中でこうアンケートとかなんかに揉まれながらこう修正していく、練り上げていくっていう作業が連載するっていうことの楽しさだから。
As the story grew, Buronson added a trio of new key characters, Kenshiro's older brothers. Jagi is the first to appear. He's a symbol of human cunning and cruelty. As the story progressed, Buronson fleshed out the character arcs of the other brothers.
長兄一番上だから一番強くてすごいだろう。でその対局で次男坊がいて、これはもうめっちゃ一番じゃなく強いんだけどもちょっと体が弱くて、その代わり医者を北斗神拳を使った医者をやっているって、それはもう一つの対象としての作り方だから。
Toki uses the secrets of Hokuto Shinken to heal instead of harm. He's a symbol of human compassion. Rao is the oldest. He wields his strength for a single purpose: total domination. For Rao, it's survival of the fittest. He's destined to become Kenshiro's ultimate rival. Hara and Buronson hardly ever meet face to face. Horie coaches each man separately, getting the best from both. Buronson is 8 years his senior, but Horie never lowers the bar.
原稿目の前で読むから分かるのよ。こうやってしたら何も反動なしにパサッと置くわけ。その瞬間書き直しがっていう。妥協はしないよ、作詞に関しては。本当に何回もこいつぶん殴ったろうかって思ったことあるよ。
とにかくね、そこでへこたれて妥協して帰ったらアウトだから。だから僕なりのここまではいけるっていうなんか自分の目安みたいなのがあって、でそこから上回ればもう文句言わないけど、ちょっとでも下回った時はまだやれるでしょうと。だってそれでその緊張感を30分続けたら直してくれると思ったら、もうその30分我慢するしかない。でもそれを嫌がったらね、結果不幸になるから、だからそれはやるって決めてましたけど。
At first, writing stories was just a way to make ends meet. But Fist of the North Star was unlike any other manga. As he struggled to map out a creative direction, Buronson had an experience that changed his perspective decisively. Before Fist of the North Star was launched, he visited Cambodia. The genocidal regime of Pol Pot had just fallen. Millions had been deprived of their lives. Weakness was a death sentence. skeletons lay in piles by the roadside.
本当に骸骨の山ばっかだからね、周りとそこへ本当にすごいことが起こったのを現実に見たっていうのは、俺はもうちょっとこうなんだろう、人生がコロッと変わった感じはあるね、こう言ったことでね。
Buronzon's experience had a deep influence on his characters and the dialogue he wrote for them. I have no patience for those who dare rob children of their light. It's only right you have a man in your life who's willing to die for you. The people of the wasteland are ready to fight for the future. They're born survivors. In the final battle, Kenshiro takes on Raoul. As the brothers fight to the death, Hara shows us every blow, every ounce of blood and sweat. By the thinnest of margins, Kenshiro emerges the victor. But even in defeat, Raoul is unbowed. Before he dies standing, he utters his final words. I have no regrets of the life I've led. More than 3 decades later, Kenshiro's story continues to capture new generations of readers.
我が生涯に一遍に悔いなしってのは、あれは多分俺の中の北斗の拳に対する思いだろうから、これ最終回だと思って書いてたから、俺も原先生もね、多分自分自身に対して言ったセリフだよね。そんな気がするね。
In 1988, the curtain finally comes down on Fist of the North Star. Horie Nobuhiko will go on to become managing editor of Shonen Jump. Under his stewardship, the magazine will reach a weekly high of over 6.5 million issues printed. It is a record that has never been broken. Hara Tetsuo. With the loss of vision in his right eye, he can only draw a few pages a month. But with help from assistants, he keeps on drawing stories that please him. Hara and Horie still collaborate as manga artist and editor. They've made a vow to each other.
ここまでにしてもらったっていう恩義があるのでどっちか死ぬまでは、だからもう僕も死ぬまではやろうと思ってますけどね。
Fist of the North Star, a masterpiece by 3 men, each with unique talents, each brought together by chance. It stands today as a landmark achievement in the history of manga, a star that will never dim.